And this has a 392 axle ratio standard because it's a Rebel. I'm in 2-wheel drive. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the all-new Ram 1500 Rebel. Before we get into this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah for giving me some time with this truck. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions, you need any help, just ask for Ryan. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi V8 that is paired to a mild hybrid system known as the e-torque system. Fuel economy with this is 17 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 395 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque, and then you get another 130 pound-feet of torque right off the line with that e-torque setup. Now before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So we have this cool like vent piece here at the top with the Rebel, and it's kind of hard to see, but it says 1500 there, and then you guys can see it also says Hemi e-torque in blue right next to it. And then notice we've got the vent pieces down below. Are they functional? Not exactly, but do they look cool? Yeah, they do. And then popping down below, you guys can see you've got cool LED daytime running lights there with the bright LED headlights. Let me tell you, they are bright. There's parking sensors here in the bumper. It's kind of hard to see because everything's all blacked out. You got fog lights as well as a front bash plate with skid plate protection underneath and tow hooks. You guys will notice everything's kind of blacked out on this truck. And here's a closer look so you can see like the blacked out Ram logo. Notice that the skid plates or bash plate there in the front end is also blacked out. And yeah, pretty cool look. But yeah, when you put it all together, the Rebel still looks really cool. Coming around the side here, tire and wheel setup is 275, 70, 18 in the front and over in the rear as well. And you guys will notice that the wheels are also all blacked out, and look how aggressive those all-terrain tires are. Now something to note, this particular Rebel has the standard suspension, and notice we actually have Bilstein off-road shocks as well. We've got these giant blacked out oversized fender flares here. Notice the Ram logo also blacked out, and then this truck is two-tone. You've got the bottom section painted in gloss black, and then notice the mirrors are blacked out, so are the door handles, and so is the window trim. And then I know that the lighting's not the best today, but when you look at the full side profile here with the Rebel, with everything blacked out at the bottom and then the white on the top, it's a pretty cool look. So here's our key fob for this Rebel. You guys can see you got the Ram logo there on the back. We have our unlock function or lock function, remote start, and then the drop down for the tailgate. Now the other way you can open up the tailgate is just traditionally, and then it does slow lower down. Now with the bed, we have 1,301 pounds of payload capacity. And then notice this one already has bed liner from the factory. And you guys can see we've got LED bed lights as well, which definitely has a cool look to it. And the cool thing about it is with this one, actually, you can press that to turn them on or off. And then lifting up the tailgate's actually super easy. Now something else to note is you've got the cool LED lights here in the back. Notice that it's blacked out in the center as part of the Rebel package. All of the badges here on the back are also blacked out. And then we've got the darker exhaust tips, which also kind of adds to the sporty look. Parking sensors here at the bottom. Towing capacity with this one is right around 11,000 pounds. And yes, this does have the kick step. And putting it all together, the Rebel definitely has that cool off-roader truck aesthetic. Now going over the door panel on the rear, notice we've got this two-tone design with the red and then the black. You have a little bit of white too added into it. And then look at this trim piece right there. That is pretty dang sweet, but overall cool aesthetic. And then this Rebel has the full leather seats. You guys can see the stitching there, notice perforated in the center portion. And then we got seat space underneath. And of course it's got the Ram ice buckets. And then here's the legroom here in the back of the Rebel. Notice we've got the cup holders right there, and again, look at the trim around the cup holders. Looks pretty cool. Heated seats here for the back. We have USB ports. We also have a full outlet. Yes, I'm wearing a hood, and yes, headroom is good. And then you'll notice that we have our whole cup holder armrest setup. Notice the keyless entry. Now with the front door panel, again, you got that same padding here, and then look at the trim piece right there. Again, I love that new style. Anyways, padding down below with the two-tone stitching. Got all of our window controls. Notice the front two are fully automatic. The mirrors do power fold in. You also have memory seat function. Now this just has these smaller mirrors. It doesn't have the new style trailer mirrors or anything like that. And then you guys can see here with the red around these speakers. Now this truck just got off the transport truck, so it still has all the factory wrappings, which is cool because I don't think I've ever shown this on the channel with a Ram before, so I think it's fun. Notice the Rebel logo right there, and then again perforated leather here in the center, just like the back seats. Power adjustments here on the side with the lumbar support. This does have adjustable pedals here. You got your parking brake, and then you guys can see your light controls here at the fog light and then the cargo light. And then look at the red trim here around the vent, and then the steering wheel is manually adjustable. Now here's a quick look at the steering wheel. You can see you've got nice leather trim all around. And then if you actually look at this portion, notice it's perforated so you can get a slightly better grip. And then yeah, you got the red contrasted stitching and then more of the red trim here. This does have regular cruise control as well as radio controls on the back of the steering wheel, your gear limiter right here, and then your phone controls for the rest of the center gauge cluster there, which will be really fun in today's video. And then we have our turn signal windshield wiper stock. Now, yes, the Rebel does have a full digital gauge cluster now, and there's quite a bit that we have to go through with this new gauge cluster. So, first off, look, can completely change what shows in the gauge cluster, and since it's all digital, super quick to respond, and you can just see so much info. Now, with the main gauge cluster, you have your analog format, which looks like this, and then you have digital, which looks like that. Let me know which one you guys like the look of more, but my favorite thing with this new setup is the navigation screen. Boom. Fills up the entire screen, which is really cool. And then you guys can see for the off-road stuff. And so yeah, super customizable, frankly. It's, you know, I mean, for a pickup truck. And I love the style. Let me tell you, it might not look great in video, but in person, I dig it. Now, normally this is where I go over the infotainment system, but again, this truck is in transport mode, so the infotainment system doesn't turn on. I am reviewing a limited today that is not in transport mode, and so if you want to see like the infotainment system, then just go watch my 2023 Ram 1500 limited video. But anyways, there is some important stuff we can talk about. So this particular truck just has a regular backup camera, and this infotainment system is the same from 22 if you guys are wondering. It still has a little charging port there at the top, and then look, we got more of that cool trim. And then you still have the analog climate controls flanking either side with the radio controls. And then at the bottom, you got like your parking sensors, your tow haul mode, stability control, and then your trailer brake controls as well. And so it's different from 2019, but you know, it's also similar. Now we still have the good old fashioned dial shifter here with the Ram Rebel. Notice this has 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel auto, 4-wheel high, and then 4-wheel low, and then that's your true neutral. You also have auto stop start. That is for your off-road cruise control, and then this does have a rear locking differential. So we got this really cool center console with the two-tone stitching and then the Ram logo, and you can see opening it up, you got a USB inside of it, and then we still have the little measuring charts there. And yes, this does slide backwards and forwards because this has a dial shifter. Now you'll notice that we have some USB ports, we have what used to be a CD player, and then we've got a wireless phone charging pad here, and then you have a full power outlet down below too. Of course, it says Rebel there in the glove box, and then you can see it opens up that way and then that way as well. Storage space is good overall. This Rebel just has the standard mirror, and then we do have a power sliding rear window. And then this one has a panoramic sunroof, and then you guys will see that the headliner is all blacked out. So you guys can see base MSRP is $57,190 on this 2023 Rebel. And this has quite a few packages added to it, like the comfort and convenience, the bed utility, for example. It's got the Rebel 2 equipment group as well. But anyways, after all packages and options on this particular truck, total MSRP is $73,550. And I have to walk this way so I don't run into anything. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, and maybe you guys will be able to see if I do the windshield wipers. Both of the mirrors, and then throughout the rest of the rear, and let's set off. So, setting off in the Rebel, and for those of you that have followed the channel for, you know, a few years at this point, know that I owned a 2019 Ram Rebel, and so I'm really excited to see what this 23 brings. Obviously, a lot of it's very similar to the truck that I owned, and this truck is like almost identical in spec. Mine didn't have the nice leather seats, but mine was, you know, standard suspension, so not air suspension with a panoramic sunroof. Mine was silver, not white, but I still think this is cool because it's got like the red interior stuff with the leather seats. And instead of being like an all black interior, I know some people aren't a huge fan of the red, but like I'd rather have this than just like a bland, you know, all black interior. So first off, ride quality with the Rebel is really solid. Automatic windshield wipers coming in clutch. Yeah, the multi-link setup you get in the back is great. So I know I didn't touch base on that in the walk around, but with the new generation Ram 1500, it has multi-link in the back, and then you have a solid rear axle. And so, you know, the solid rear axle obviously provides some level of stability, but the multi-link kind of helps with, you know, the damping. Now with these Bilstein shocks, it does kind of, it makes things a little bit firmer, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because the truck's smooth enough that it's fine. And, you know, the 33s that this has really help out too. That extra sidewall definitely smooths things out. That's such a comfortable truck. And the thing is, you know, people will give Ram some crap because they haven't changed a ton with this truck since initial release. But I mean, you still drive this back to back with a modern Ford, modern Chevy, and it's really nice. Like, it's very comfortable, the cabin's quiet, and it drives really well. It's just like the steering's great. Like Ram, I feel like they kind of and you know, some people might not agree with me on this, but I feel like they kind of over-engineered the truck. Like, it was like way too good for the 2019 sales year, and so now it's like the other, you know, manufacturers have kind of caught up. I love with the RPMs this digital gauge cluster. Again, I know some people might not really care for it, but I think it looks so cool. It just makes the truck feel a bit more modern. That is for sure. And this has a 392 axle ratio standard because it's a Rebel. I'm in two-wheel drive. Yeah, this thing moves. This thing moves, that's for sure. Like, do I have my... Yeah, I've got the lights set to auto. That's so smooth. You hear a little bit of tire noise. Yeah, I still love how this truck drives to this day. So, summing things up, 23 doesn't provide like insane changes quite yet for the Ram 1500, but the new digital gauge cluster is a big improvement. It makes this feel, you know, more in line with Ford and Chevy, because they both have digital gauge clusters now with their higher packages. And, you know, as someone who, again, owned a, you know, Ram Rebel in the past, I will say that I'm impressed with this. I really am. I think that, you know, getting, like, especially if you have a 2019 truck, getting a brand new truck with a full warranty, again, that's obviously always great. But I feel like the little things that they've done to this truck to make the interior, just like, yeah, again, like the trim and everything and the digital gauge cluster, it's enough that I probably, like, on it, this probably makes me selling it, but it's enough that I would go and buy a new one. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think about this. That's gonna sum things up for a video with this Rebel. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah for giving me some time with this truck. Check out the info in the description down below. Hopefully you can see me because the camera now has water all over it. Oh, geez. I'll see you guys.